أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين وبعد. First of all, we would like to welcome you all, inshallah, back to our Tuesday classes. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put barakah in our effort and to accept from us our actions, Ya Rabb, and give us and benefit us from the knowledge that we will be studying, inshallah. Let me start off by an introduction today to make it easy and light. It's very hard to come back and sit for a long time after a break. So I'll make it simple, inshallah, today, and then we will dive into the book, inshallah, from next week, bi'idhnillah. The book that we're going to be studying, inshallah, this semester is called the Nihayatul Alam, the End of the World, and this is the signs, minor and major signs of the Day of Judgment or the last hour, with pictures, maps, and clarification. And this is the unique part about this book, and it's in English too. You could buy it online. I'm buying the English version. I just found it, alhamdulillah, on Dar es Salaam. So you could buy the English version. It's called The End of the World, and if you see the flyer, it's the book on the flyer. It's about $25 if you want to benefit from it. It has some good. The Sheikh put a lot of effort into it to try to, as much as he can, put some samples and some pictures to clear things out, especially what we need to know. But inshallah, today, let's do the intro from the book. The book is written by one of the resident mashayikh of today, Sheikh Muhammad Al-Arifi. He's a scholar in Saudi Arabia, and he's well-known da'iyah. And the Sheikh started by saying, لماذا نتكلم عن أشراط الساعة? Why are we talking about the signs of the Day of Judgment? What is the benefit? Anything that you search for, okay, you must gain some benefit out of it. And this is very important to know. What's the outcome in our life when we study a book like this? Like, what is it for us? Okay, when we studied Usul al-Fiqh, if you remember the fundamentals of fiqh, we were able to clarify how to pray, how to fast, how to, like, what are the rules, and so on and so forth. When we studied the Qawa'id al-Fiqhiyya, we were able to define major fundamentals to live our life based on it, like all actions are judged by intention, and so forth and so on. When we studied Aqidah, it is monotheism, it's your belief. That's what you live on and meet Allah with. So what's the point of studying a book like this in our life? The first point is that we establish the belief in the unseen as a pillar of faith. We as Muslims believe that one of the pillars of Iman, not Islam, is to believe in the unseen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. This is the first ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah. After the defining, not the first as number one, but this is the first ayah to define who are al-muttaqun. Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Who are these people? الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. You cannot believe in the unseen without knowing it. We just have information about it. But to really believe in it, you must dive a little more into the information to understand what to believe in. So, what do we believe in the unseen? If someone asks you, what is the unseen? What would you say? Yes? But what is the unseen? What is defined as unseen? Anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam have told us about that we have not seen. Not specific thing, anything that they said, because if Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said there is a battle that will take place, there is a group of people who would live in a certain place. Like he said, for example, there are two groups who will be fighting one another, okay? Did people see that or no? No? We studied Aqidah. Yeah, the fitna between the Sahaba, Ali ibn Abi Talib and Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, we spoke about this. But to the Sahaba, this was unseen, ghaib. But they believed in what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them. So there is a lot in this book, okay, that has nothing to do with the major signs that we all know. There's a lot of minor signs that you'll be surprised that exist today that the people before us did not know. I'll give you an example. The communication. How fast is communication today compared to 20, 30 years ago? Huh? Very fast. Did Rasulullah ﷺ speak about how fast the communication will be? Yes, he did. He spoke about it as if he was talking about the internet and the speed that we have today, like texting messages and commenting. He spoke of that? Yes, he did, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you ask a Muslim 400 years ago that they'll be able to communicate with someone across the city, across town, not across the country, across town, okay, in seconds, they will think you're what? Insane. But Rasulullah ﷺ said it will happen. But how will it happen? This is the question. So that's the first part. Number two, knowing the signs of the Day of Judgment, Ashratu Sa'ah, especially the last hour, will lead you to be prepared for the Day of Judgment in all forms of repenting to Allah, getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like when you see a sign, you should be worried. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he woke up in the middle of the night and he screamed out, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, Waylun lil Arab. He's warning all the Arab. Waylun lil Arab. There's something going on. There's something that is going to happen. Al-Wayl is like a warning. Min what? قال من شر قد اقترب. From evil that is getting close. اليوم فتح من سد يأجوج ومأجوج هكذا. He said the wall of Ya'juj and Ma'juj, and we'll speak about them inshallah, major sign. He said just a small part like this was finally opened up. Do you think a small hole like this, people could actually escape out of it? No, but he woke up what? Scared. Why? Because Ya'juj and Ma'juj is a sign. And if a small part is open, that means the rest could be open very soon. So he woke up. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ayqidhu suwayhibat al-hujar." He said, "Wake up these lazy women sleeping inside my rooms," his wives. In the middle of the night, they're sleeping, Ya Rasulullah. He said, "Wake them up. Wake them up. Yusallin," so they could pray. Because he was so scared, he wanted everybody to stand up and pray. They're sleeping. They don't know what's going on. But Rasulullah saw it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed him, gave him that vision to see it. So what did he do, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He's saying, let's get up and pray because this is dangerous. This is giving us a sign. Okay? A sign that my time could be up, your time could be up, the last hour could happen in seconds, and it will run away like the Prophet ﷺ described. قَالَ رُبَّ كَاسِيَةٍ فِي الدُّنْيَا عَارِيَةٍ فِي الْآخِرَةِ. Number three, it has a lot of rulings that are related to rules and fiqh. Believe it or not. Like Rasulullah ﷺ said in the hadith, in the story of Ad-Dajjal, the Antichrist. He said, when he comes in, Ad-Dajjal is going to stay 40 days. One day, one of those days, the first day is equal to 1 year. And then one day is equal to 1 month. And then one day is equal to 1 week. And the rest of the days are like your days. What did the Sahaba ask Rasulullah ﷺ when they heard this hadith? What do you think the first thing they would ask for? What do you think the first thing would ask for? Huh? What is it? Prayer time. طبعا we would ask, how would he look like? Does he have? Does he have an iPhone or Samsung? Is he going to be using computer? Is he going to be using So he said, قالوا يا رسول الله أتكفي في اليوم الواحد منها صلاة يوم? He said, that day that is equal to a year, would it be enough to pray 5 times? Because it's 1 day, at the end it's 1 day. So there is rules. We don't know these rules. We don't know what to do. So he said, no, اقدروا له قدره. You should calculate the time. Do you know what the ulama took from this, the scholars? They took from this that there are places that they have longer days or longer nights. How if مثلا there are some places that they have 20 hours of daytime, only 4 hours of night. How do they fast? How do they fast? How do they pray? Because of these ahadith of the last hour, the scholars were able to derive ruling on how to do it based on, he said, اقدروا له قدرا. You should look at the count of days or the times that the closest country to you fast. For example, the closest city or town that has normal days fast about 15 hours. If you have a 20-hour day, then you should only fast what? 15 hours. That's it. Even though the time is not coming in. So we learn these rules because of these hours. Number 4, knowing the lost hours and what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us is a defined evidence of his prophethood. قال الله عز وجل عالم الغيب فلا يظهر على غيبه أحدا إلا من ارتضى من رسول. So he said, عالم الغيب. Allah is the one who knows about the unseen. He is the most knowledgeable of the unseen. And He only reveals some of the unseen to the ones whom He's pleased with, who is a prophet. So knowing that the Prophet ﷺ said, this will happen, and we see it happening, this strengthens our faith and our belief in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. He said, number 5, knowing the signs of the Day of Judgment and knowing how we deal with it would not get us confused and get us clarification on how to prepare ourselves for dealing with it, such as at Dajjal or being clear about Al-Mahdi. Everybody know every country has Mahdi, yeah? Every country. Every country. There's a person who comes out who says or claims that he is Al-Mahdi. There is a person in Africa recently, he was claiming that he woke up, he found himself in this house and he believes he's Isa ibn Maryam. If this person is well respected among people and people know him and recognize him and he says such a thing, do you think people would believe him? Yes, some people would, especially nowadays. Most of us, when we see the TV, when we watch the news, we see, like for example, there was an encampment on Davis, yeah? If somebody came on TV with the media saying, oh, they burned flags, I am sure most of the students who were there, sitting down in tents, will say, I think it did happen, but you were there. Just because the media said it. So imagine Rasulullah ﷺ giving example about a Dajjal. Why? To warn us to be careful of such signs. Number 7, قال يفتح باب الأمل. It gives hope. The signs of the Day of Judgment gives hope to the believers because, especially at the time of weakness. You know, Muslims today are at the level where every generation says this is the worst level ever. Okay? So we need some kind of hope. And that's why people escape to these hopes. By the way, if you ask any Muslim what is something that you wish for, they will tell you Al-Mahdi. And truly we wish for Al-Mahdi. We want Al-Mahdi to, but is he going to come out because we wish for him? Yani, we're hoping, we're building up that hope that Islam, inshallah, will gain victory, that Islam will be successful, that Islam would spread, that the weakness of the ummah would be removed, all of that. We give ourselves hope by reading these signs. Number 8, إشباع الرغبة الفطرية في الإنسان. People love to know about the things that are unseen. Okay? And the people who know me very well know, you know, I give classes a lot about jinn, not in this masjid, and I'm not going to do it again. But I give it in different places, yeah? The attendance that comes into these classes are way more than any other class that I have ever been to. Why? Because it's jinn. People are always curious about things that they can't see with their own eyes. So they like these stories. So the signs of the Day of Judgment are these news that we can see, and people are, you know, looking forward to it. Number 9, الإيمان بأشراط الساعة يقوي الإيمان ويزيده فمثل هذه العلامات تؤكد صدق الدين الذي أنت عليه. He said, it strengthens your faith, and this is the most important. It keeps you firm. The Sahaba, they needed that from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sometime, and some of them didn't see it, but they believed it. that iman in the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that faith in the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does make a difference. Okay? It does strengthen your heart. So now the Shaykh is going to enter the book talking about the minor signs. But first he said there are a few things that I want you to recognize, and I'm just going to summarize it inshallah for today because we said we're not going to take longer. Number one, الاقتصار على نصوص الكتاب والسنة الصحيحة. That most of what is mentioned in this book is only limited to the authentic hadith of the Prophet ﷺ and the revelation, which is the Quran. Why is that? Again, because we have books. We have books who spoke about, we have books who spoke about things are, for example, we have books that speaks about the secrets of the signs. Okay? The person swore by Allah in this book that Al-Mahdi, that Ad-Dajjal are the Shia in Iraq and Al-Mahdi is Saddam Hussein. He has no doubt. Amir Muhammad Jamal in his book, he said, most of the hadith that I have read about Al-Mahdi applies to Saddam Hussein. I wish this person is still alive. We tell him Saddam is dead and Al-Mahdi is still not out. But why is he doing that? Because he's trying to apply what he's reading on the time that we live in. And this is another problem that we're going to fall in. Or most people do. If something happened, it does not mean that this is certainty that is happening, especially if it's minor sign. Because the minor sign could be repetitive. Yani it could happen at our time, it could happen at other time. Ibn Hajar rahimahullah ta'ala spoke about the fire that came out, and Rasulullah said the fire will come out for 3 nights. People would see it. Wallahi, the people of the women in Medina, they used to cook food and sew their clothes on the light of that fire that came out of Damascus. And we're still here 1400 years after that. Okay? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam spoke about a lot of signs that you will see and read. So the point here is to clarify only Quran and Sunnah. Okay? Number 2 is to return back to the opinion of the scholars, and you only speak about things that people understand. He said, number 1, we are not supposed to and ask for applying the signs of the Day of Judgment upon our time. Why is that? Because you could have a doubt about something and the signs are so clear. Umar radiallahu anhu ardah, okay, used to say, Ibn Sayyad huwa Dajjal. He saw him. Ibn Sayyad was a Jew slave in Medina, and he was very, very harmful. This kid was like trouble. Umar, when he saw him, he said, he is a Dajjal. You know what's more surprising? Rasulullah heard him saying that and he didn't comment. So some people thought that Ibn Sayyad is a Dajjal. طيب, if a Dajjal came out, then Isa should come out afterward and Isa will kill him. Did that happen? No, we're still here. Okay? So when we read these signs, we're supposed to link history, the past to the present, but do not apply it completely to the present as a definite understanding or an application to the time. Like for example, I'll give you a hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Yushiku an la yushba lil Iraqi qafizun wala dirham." فقال من أين ذاك يا رسول الله؟ قال من قبل العجم يمنعون ذلك. In Iraq, he said, there will come a time where the scale, the measure scale that they weight things with, القفيز اللي هو الميزان هذا, they used to use it like the kilo or the pound. So Iraq has its own scale. When the US invaded Iraq, that was prevented from going in. They could not have that scale no more. And Rasulullah was asked, who's going to prevent that scale from going into Iraq? He said, Westerns. Now, if we apply this to the 2003, and then he said, وَالشَّامِ قال ويوشك أهل الشام أن لا يشبه إليهم دينار ولا مدي قلنا من يا رسول الله قال من الروم. Now Damascus is going through a lot of problems right now. If you apply so many of the ahadith to what's happening today in Sham, you would say, no doubt, that we're just waiting for that last hour. We're just waiting to wake up one Friday and find the sun coming out from the west. This is what everybody's waiting for. We're waiting for the Day of Judgment to start. Why? Because all the hadith about Sham are happening today. Gaza and Palestine but is it really what's happening? Is these signs that we have from the hadith? So that book, inshallah, is gonna clarify all of this. So the Sheikh said, and this is the last thing that he said, it is not a condition that the signs is a sign that the last hour is very near, because it could take longer time. Like the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, I was sent, like Allah revealed to me, and the last hour, like this. So he said how close I came. بُعِثْتُ أَنَا وَالسَّاعَةَ كَهَاتَيْنِ. Do you know how close these fingers are to each other? So if Rasulullah ﷺ came into this dunya as a prophet, then we are that close. How close are these fingers together? Then the ulama start saying, is it the gap in between, or is it the tip? How close? It's very close. So how far are we from the Prophet today? Huh? No, we're not 1400 years. We are 1 day and a half. Why? Yeah, it is 1400 years. Don't get me wrong. But إِنَّ يَوْمًا عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ كَأَلْفِ سَنَةٍ مِمَّا تَعُدُونَ. Now, we have 1 day is equal to 1,000 years in the sight of Allah. That's the Day of Judgment timings. So when we measure the signs of the Day of Judgment, we have to measure it based on that timing, not our timing. So 1 day is equal to 1,000. Today we have 1,400 years away from the Prophet. So how far are we from the Prophet? Okay, math and Davis. 1 day and a half. So are we still that close? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself was waiting for a Dajjal. He said, "In yakhruj wa ana fikum." Can you imagine? He said that. He said, if he comes out and I'm alive, I will take care of him. So if Rasulullah is waiting for a Dajjal, we should for sure be closer. And by the way, we're going to explain what Dajjal mean and all of that, because the Antichrist doesn't just mean one Dajjal. The big head, the guy who we're all worried about, and he's a fitna, he has so many supporters. Okay? And everything that is happening today is a preparation for him to come out. Because when he comes out, people have to be ready to listen and believe. Even if what they see is completely opposite from what they know or what they see with their own eyes. يقول الشيخ, he said we could divide this, and this is the last part inshallah. I will mention in here before we start the signs inshallah. The minor signs are about 70 or 80, and we will pass through a lot of them, just mention titles. He said there are some signs that did completely happen, as the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, and it's past, like revelation, Bi'athatul Nabi ﷺ, prophethood. Mawtihi, his death, is a sign of the Day of Judgment. Sallallahu alayhi wa sahbihi wasallam. The appearance of those who claim to be prophets. And he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, there will be theory liars after me. ثلاثون كذاب, theory liars claiming that they are prophet after our prophet. In Islam, I'm not talking about other religions. In Islam, they all came out. Okay, and they announced that they are the prophet of the time. And there are some things. He said, this is the first part. The second category is signs that started and it's continuous. Like the Prophet ﷺ said, people will be buying things as close. Like they don't have to go to the market to buy it, it will come to them, Amazon. Taqarub al-aswaq, the marketplaces will come to you very close that you don't even have to go out to get something from the market. Do you recognize that today or no? Yeah, a click. People, they even buy their food now. Everything you want comes to you. So this sign happening, it's not just that it happened, it's happening. Okay? Kathratul harj, the increase of killing and all of that, there's all of this still happening. And then there are signs that did not take place yet, like the Antichrist, the return of Isa alayhi salam, the coming out of the dabba, which is the animal that the Prophet ﷺ described, Ya'juj wa Ma'juj, and so on and so forth. So the last warning that he said the last warning that people should be careful of is interpretation into these signs that leads to more harm. Like there will come a time where we will no longer be using any technology that we are using today, and civilization will completely disappear. Taban, to us today, we are looking forward for more. But there will come a time where people will be exchanging things without a value. So people would return back to using metals and swords and horses and things like that to travel. Taban, a lot of you will look at these today and be like, planes and what's going on. Yes, things has to go all the way, and we're going to see it from the hadith, and this is going to be one very important lesson to take, inshallah, from the book. You see that there's a lot of things that takes place, and then you believe that there's no way it could happen, but then it does. And COVID was one of those times. What were people fighting for during COVID time? Toilet paper. We never thought before that we would have a problem with toilet paper. So if you told anybody people are going to be fighting for toilet paper, they think you're crazy. Like, why? What's going on? Did it happen? It did happen in front of us. We saw how the need was to going back to the basics of life. Just basics. Why? Because there is nothing else that we could use. Everything has a problem, so we have to go back. And this is how things are going. It's going to escalate so much that civilization will reach a level that people would believe that dunya and this ard خلاص زخرفت, يعني it became into complete beauty, and then it will be destroyed. We might see that with our eyes. Our children might be the ones after, Allahu A'lam, but at least we should be warned, inshallah, from those signs. We'll start next Tuesday, inshallah, with the minor signs of the Day of Judgment, to go through it in numbers and then in details, and then we'll move on to the major signs, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. I hope to see you all, inshallah, next Tuesday. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for the time you spend. And if there's any questions, we will have questions. Leave 10 minutes after class for questions, inshallah, for both brothers and sisters, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.